It's Monday, friends, and Monday is my favorite day to look at mindset and motivation and everything associated with that. So, today we're going to look at willpower. Many of you will have heard me refer to willpower as a battery before. We wake up in the morning and our battery is full, but then as the day goes by and we get choices and decisions and demands thrown at us, the battery depletes and it goes down and down and down. So then by the time the evening comes and you're at home and there's kind of temptation lurking around every corner, you then have no willpower left. So the likelihood of you giving in to these temptations is a lot higher. So there's many different variables that are going to impact your willpower. Like your environment is a big one. That whole notion is if you don't want to eat the chips, don't buy them. Don't have the stuff in your house. Thereby you've removed the temptation. And the only way you can get the chips is to go out to the store or whatever and buy it, which most people are not going to do because then it's just too much of an inconvenience. So that really is going to impact your environment. We also have like the idea of Netflix. If Netflix is there and it's cold outside and you should go for a walk, you're probably not going to because the temptation of Netflix is there. And in that instance, I'm not saying remove your TV or your laptop or whatever, but you may need to find some sort of compromise there. Maybe put some weights in front of the TV or watch Netflix on the treadmill or something like that. But when it comes to willpower, there are lots of variables. The biggest things, though, that are going to challenge our willpower and deplete that willpower battery is going to be stress and tiredness. So the first thing that I'm going to start with, that I always start with, is sleep is number one. Sleep has to be number one. When you go asleep, you refill or you recharge this battery. So you're getting your restorative rest, deep quality sleep. But during that time, you also refill glycogen levels in your brain. So if you don't get into that deep, good quality, sustained, like correct amount of time of sleep for you, you're not going to refill the glycogen levels in your brain. So your brain does primarily run off glucose or glycogen. So if you haven't had a good sleep and you haven't refilled those glycogen levels in your brain's going to pretty much wake up hungry. And when your brain is hungry, and most people will know this, when you're tired and your brain glycogen levels have not been restored, your cravings are going to be higher. So one of that is that insulin resistance and inflammatory aspect of things. But the other is your brain is tired. It didn't get its refill of glycogen. So the more decisions you have early in the day, you're going to burn through whatever glycogen is there a lot faster. And then, sure, by noon, it's like gone and you're like, pfft, and whatever comes your way, yeah, I'll have that, I'll have that, I'll have that. So your willpower is very much dependent on sleep in that aspect of things. And most people don't know that the brain does refill or restore its glycogen levels when we're asleep. So it's really important because your brain's primary source of fuel is sugar or glucose. And I've always said, like, if you've had a bad sleep, your brain is going to look for that sugar to survive, to function. So before you even know it, you're already in the kitchen eating half of the pack of cookies. Like your brain has brought you there, almost like an extra entity pushing you somewhere, and then you wake up and you're like, how did I end up in the fridge? So it's your brain driving those cravings because it's like, I need sugar to survive and like nothing else will do. And yes, the very disciplined in us may turn to fat, and the fat may help you with ketones for brain, but the majority of people are not going to do that. Like, let's be realistic, they're not. Your brain can function off fat and ketones, but its primary kind of craving or fuel source is sugar, and most people are not going to sit around munching on fat and waiting for those ketones to kick in. So sleep is number one there. A poor night's sleep will increase insulin resistance on every level throughout the body, but especially your brain, and then your willpower before you've even left the house has already been shot or damaged. So then the next is your willpower really is a muscle, and it can be improved or strengthened like any other muscle, like your bicep. You just have to exercise it a lot. And it really is wash, rinse, repeat until a lot of these aspects of decision making, their habits, they require less energy to make the choices or decisions. But when you wake up in the morning and you have this full battery, the more demands that are being placed on this muscle, kind of like in the gym, eventually you're going to fatigue and you won't be able to lift anymore. You're going to have to leave the gym and then refill that muscle battery again. Well, the same thing with your willpower battery. You wake up in the morning and your battery is full, and the more decisions that are thrown at you, the more children screaming and bosses' demands, and even should I go left or right at the traffic lights? Maybe left has a crash, but right will take me longer. What should I get for lunch? What should I make for dinner? I forgot to take the chicken out of the freezer. What will I do now? All of these different choices and decisions, they're tapping into that willpower battery. So the more decisions and choices you have to make throughout the day, the more you're going to deplete that battery. So then when you come home in the evening, or the evening comes and it's dinner time and you forgot to take the chicken out, and you're like, oh, I'll just order pizza, it's so much easier, or oh, it's too cold to go for a walk, or like that willpower battery is going to be tapped out. So the likelihood of you staying on track with whatever it is, nutrition, studying for an exam or a business or exercise, whatever it is, the likelihood of you staying on track, it's almost nil at that stage. So how can we offset this? I mean, there's many ways: setting your environment up so that you don't have temptation, making sure you get good sleep. I mean, there's a couple of hacks: apple cider vinegar, magnesium, chromium. Like, there's a few things that can help. But really, and I know I'm going to sound like a broken record saying this, but all the most successful people in the world, the top performers, top athletes, everyone will tell you this is truer than true. Having somewhat of your day planned out ahead, having like your meals planned, having your exercise planned, having your morning and evening routine planned, so you don't even have to think about them. You don't have to make a decision. You don't have to choose what to do. They're set in stone. That means those options, they're not taking any power from your battery at all. Like, they're already there. They're set in stone. There is a lot to be said for meal prep and meal planning, although I don't do it because of what I do. I already know what to make or what to do. Like, it's easy for me, but for a lot of people it can be very beneficial. Making sure, like I've always spoke about, your morning and evening routines, they should just be habit. You literally should be saying to yourself when you wake up, like, I can't start my day without doing this. Like, my morning routine is a staple in my life. I have to do it regardless of its wedding day or vacation day, like my morning routine. And the same with your evening routine. Like, if I want to be successful, my evening routine, this is how I go to bed. This is how I make sure I have good sleep so that my brain can be restored and refilled with its energy, so I can detoxify, regenerate my body, all that. Like, this is what I do. You shouldn't even have to think about morning and evening routines. They should just be it. You just do it. The same way you brush your teeth. You just don't think of it. You just do it. And then having already, even if you've only planned your meals for the next 2 days, that immediately takes a big pull away from that willpower battery. Like, that I don't even need to think about defrosting the chicken or what should I make for lunch. Like, it's already done. And then exercise, same thing. Like, with exercise, coming up with some sort of plan, but also some sort of deal with exercise. Like, if the day does go to shit, I lose track of the day, or I'm having a bad day, what is the minimum that I definitely will do? Like, what can I do on my worst day that I will do? So having some consistency there and knowing it in your brain, that you don't even think about it. Like, if I'm having a bad day or I've lost track of time, at the very least, I can go into the gym or wherever and do 10 minutes of abs and 15 minutes on the Stairmaster or something. Like, what's the very minimum you can do on your worst day? So planning and preparation and having habits and routines, they really do benefit you in that they don't drain energy from that willpower battery. And then your kids, your husband, your boss, the traffic, all that stuff, that can take away from your willpower battery. So then you've removed those other obstacles. By the time you get home, maybe your willpower battery is not fully depleted. Maybe it's only half depleted. And now there's a higher likelihood of you having a good day or staying on track for the whole day, because you still have some willpower energy left in the evening to do what needs to be done, to stay on track, to go for a walk, to whatever it is. And then you do that every day, and these things, they become just who you are and what you do. They're habit, but you're stacking conditions in the favor of your willpower, because there's less draining from your willpower. And before you know it, you've gone a month of doing this, and it's just like brushing your teeth. You just do it, and your results and your success are starting to show. Holy, these few differences of maybe being prepared and planning even my 2 days at a time really makes a difference. Willpower is a big thing for people, because we know the key to success is consistency. But willpower, if you don't have willpower, the chance of you being consistent is very slim. So stack conditions in your favor. And as we move into the festive season, like, temptation is going to be around us. But so many people still want to hit their goals by the end of the year or by Christmas. So let's stack conditions in our favor. I have spoke about compromise as well. We can come up with some compromises. We can try offset Christmas events and make good choice. Like, there's things you can do. But definitely what I've mentioned in this willpower video, I think is going to be very beneficial for most people, because yes, we know about willpower, but this helps us really know about willpower. Like, understand what can target it. And like I said, there's other things like stress. If you've had a very stressful day, that, like, your willpower battery, instead of being depleted by question, like, you know, a little kid who keeps asking you the same question all day. Well, if you get a big bout of stress, instead of it just going down steadily throughout the day, it just goes blip. That's the end of that. So stress is a big influence. And like I mentioned, environmental aspects. If the cookies are sitting there calling your name, you're going to have a tough fight ahead. Like, there's all these different things. But I hope you found this video helpful. Please let me know if you have any feedback on the topic of willpower, or do you have any kind of hacks or little things that you do to help your willpower and help you stay on track. Let me know. I'd love to know. And of course, it'll help everyone. Okay, bye-bye.